morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Morning. Good. Doing great.
Good morning.
Good morning, Amy.
Morning. Perfect. Well, it sounds like my restart helped, so I can hear everybody. Everybody can hear me, so we're good to go. Any of you have any buyer needs or listings coming up you'd like to talk about?
I had a question.
Yeah. What's your question?
I just saw something come up on an offer. I got a recap for the offers. In 2 days, there were 15 offers. Yeah, unreal. On a nothing property, too. It was just priced right. But it had in there that uh, three of the inspections were pass fail. Does
Was this
anybody?
on a Tish?
No, this was the inspection. It wasn't a
Okay.
Tish. So I'm just wondering if anybody's used that or have heard of that or how they're using it.
I know my guy usually does like what needs work immediately, what shouldn't, like what you just want to keep an eye on and what's like good to
No,
go, but I've never heard of a pass fail.
well, that's why I'm here. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'll look it up and see what I can find.
Perfect. Yeah, we can ask Randy. Randy is out today, but we can ask Randy too, if he's heard of that, because yeah, that is very strange because I've never heard of that one. And what did the inspector say?
Are you still there? Oh, there we
Yep.
go. No, we didn't get the offer. I mean, we didn't get it. They just offered us a recap because they knew everybody was going to be calling. So the listing agent offered a recap, and three of them were what do you call it, inspections, but offered on a pass fail basis. I
Oh, okay.
don't know which one they accepted. I have no idea, but
So
I haven't heard of pass fail. I have an idea, but I was just wondering if anybody else had some comments on it.
yeah, so sometimes like the offer that I just wrote, I do like for information only. So that's basically kind of that pass or fail. So either it's going to pass, we're going to continue with the purchase agreement, or it fails and we cancel the agreement. It's not that we're going to be asking for this or that, is how I would see it. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what I've done before. And if it's
No.
on the offer and they're doing kind of a recap like that, I would think that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, I would too. So you've done it. You've done that before on offers that you've made.
Yep, I actually just did it to try to strengthen my offer for my clients, and I'm still waiting. Like I've been like glancing at my phone, like is this agent gonna tell me yet? Because they were reviewing last night at 8 o'clock, and I've been working with these people for like 15 months now, and we just keep getting beat. But we were really close last night, so I'm waiting on the answer on that. So but yeah, I did that as to strengthen my offer. I did the inspection is for information only. We won't be asking for any other concessions financially or physically for the property. So I usually word it a little differently, but maybe some agents are, well, it's either going to pass or fail. So I'm just getting the inspection for either passing or failing. The other one that I threw on this deal was I also did an appraisal gap with what they were comfortable with to kind of strengthen our offer, and hopefully that was just enough. I'm hoping no news yet is good news, but we'll see.
Do you know how
No.
many offers there are right now, Amy?
No, she didn't tell me. We were the first offer. And then they had an open house, so we kind of got bombarded by the open house, but she did say that there's multiple offers. She won't tell me how many they are.
Imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. I
The
think she'll
one,
probably once everything's all done, but yeah, it's
the
been
one I
crazy
just,
to
the
go.
one we just got beat on, there were a total of 15 offers in 2 days. All offers were flexible in sellers finding a home. 10 offers were written with inspection. All were under a week or less. Several were pass fail. 12 offers had a written statement and 3 offers had an appraisal gap coverage. So that's what's coming in on, that $300,000 or
Yep.
less. You know,
But
Yeah,
was
they're
that
right at
underpriced? Was it underpriced or
well,
was
yeah,
that your listing? Your listing?
no, we made an offer on it, and this was their very first offer. And of course, they weren't going to get. I knew they weren't going to get it from the beginning because they only offered $15,000 more with only a $5,000 appraisal gap guarantee. So it was going to be tough for them to get that. So if you don't have cash right now in this market, in order to cover your own closing costs and to do the appraisal gap guarantee, if you don't have cash, you're pretty much out of luck.
Well, we beat another offer with cash, but I feel like we overdid, but he was like, go after it. It was the only thing out there of what he wanted, and it worked, but we were able to, kind of give in on everything. It was a condo, so we didn't need inspection. I mean, seriously, it didn't,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then when I saw the other offer, I was like, because we did it's a escalation clause.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
I
just
But
haven't-
you don't know who you're up against, and I knew that it was the other offer the same day. And when I compared, I did go to the other places they didn't even want to look at, the other couple, and they were terrible developments. So I feel okay with what he got. But it's still really and we took less on his place. I feel like anything that's been on more than a week, you can just
Yeah.
assume that it's overpriced.
well, and that's
Or
what I
it's
was hoping
beat
with.
up.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was hoping with this last one for them, because we even had the highest price on our last offer, but they ended up going with cash because they had a similar situation to Michael's, where I think they had like 12 offers, 3 of them were cash, but they did a cash, no contingency, no brainer I mean, it was even like the 5th net, but they just wanted that for sure deal. So cash is key lately.
Cash is
And
king.
that's what we got, a cash offer, and we're closing with the cash offer. So, you'd think it would all be smooth, but then a tree fell down. So that took some more cash to get that
Yeah.
taken care of. And anyway, the other agent was a little hardball about this closing. I really have been lucky. I'm not a full-time agent, so I'm not like doing 40 deals a year, but I rarely come in this position where somebody has to move into, get their stuff out, and there's so many times I have empty units kind of thing. And the buyer was such a jerk about not wanting to allow him any time to get things out after close. And then they came back and rewrote the, he would allow 8 hours on Saturday for him to get stuff out, because we can't close on Saturday. But they didn't change the date. We have changed the date. So if I had my guy sign it, he would have had a whole month to stay, to have stuff out of the garage and yard. And so I was like, so then I was able to at least go back and say, either we do this, or, because his guy had already signed, and they were like all contractual, and it was like, well, your contract says September, so now my guy's going to be very happy to leave. He'll just leave stuff. It was really too bad though, because it changed from a nice transaction where both, where the seller's very happy to do a lot of things and leave things and, like all this yard equipment and stuff, move into a condo. And instead it's very contentious feeling, which is what sucks because it was literally over an 8-hour thing and it just turned the whole transaction to being, now nobody sees anybody at closing anyway. So
Yeah.
we won't have to sit across the table.
So quick question for everyone too. I've had a couple of clients who are military and have been reassigned and have to get into a new house with their family in 4 to 6 weeks, and they're in choose a country. And so everything has to be done remote. So I have been making them sign something that says that they have not personally seen this house. They have not been in the house to see it, but they're doing this anyway. Does anyone have any verbiage or anything like that that they've used in the past? Because I think it's important to be covered in that way. Otherwise, I think the liability on our part, if we're doing that, can be there. All you need is one buyer who says, well, I don't want to pay for that. Let's go after the realtor.
Are you working, is that a cash deal or are you working with one of those loan companies that do a lot with veterans and with military?
I just have a lot of military people, it
Okay,
just
well, I mean,
kind
I
of
thought they
happened.
might have wording from, like the title company might have a good idea if they do a lot of remote people like that.
It's not a bad idea. I'll ask them if they've ever come across something. Sure.
That,
Yeah.
or even maybe try the lender as well, because they're
Mhm.
the ones who are
Putting up the
financing the
money.
loan.
That's a good idea too. I'll do that. I'll do both of those things. Thank you,
Did
guys.
you,
Yeah.
did you do an inspection?
No. Oh,
I mean, an inspection kind of covers,
they
covers
wanted the house.
everybody of the
They
house.
they wanted the house. If they were going to do, we already had done 3 of them, and the inspection was probably one of the things that knocked them out. So, I mean, I
Okay.
never, I always tell them, I think you should get an inspection, but it's up to you. But
Did you go to
after,
the house? Did you go
oh
see the
yeah,
house? Okay,
yeah, I went through video.
good. And pointed out anything that looked like troublesome that,
Absolutely.
good. I feel like you're really covered there. Like there should be some in some of your wording. I would say that too, that the buyers have never been in the house. However, they did receive a complete videotape, which is on file or whatever. Make sure you keep it.
No. Yeah, I do. I keep it. Yeah.
I did a video 4 years ago when I sold a place for an out-of-state buyer. That deal fell through, and I ended up bringing a buyer 3 months ago and was able to say, I wasn't the seller this time. I had a buyer. And I was able to send him, and he was out of state. I was able to send him that video and say, here's a video showing everything. There's only 2 things that have changed since then. It was really helpful because it was already pretty complete. I'd already edited. So
I had one that was in the States, but they were in like North Carolina, and they wanted to buy a shop slash house way up north that had acreage. I mean, way up north. And I said, guys, you got to see it. I don't care what you do. You get on a plane, you come up here and see this place, because that wasn't gonna. I don't even think I had a connection up there. So I actually made them come up and see it, which they were very glad that they did, because they walked out of there. I found out she was 8 months pregnant in the middle of nowhere, and she went, no, I'm not going to buy this place. So that worked out well.
That makes sense. I looked back at our so I bought an abandoned farm a few years ago, and we just had a party this last weekend, and everything looks pretty beautiful. But then I was looking, because we were sitting on the porch that we really like, and I went back and looked through old videos, and it's like, looking back, I can't even believe we bought it. Like, cannot believe how bad it was, because it's like a retrospect. Like, oh my God, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, we had 5 dumpsters of stuff out, but it's we have several outbuildings, and that whole Shouse thing. Yeah, you better know what the construction is like and what the setting. I mean, I knew it was perfect because the setting and the land and everything, it really was a land purchase.
Yeah, there was a 15-foot high pile of old tires in one of the back fields, and 8 old trucks, and it was like,
Yep. Yep. And this place, they had to have everything out of the house. Like the weekend when it came down to it, it was like you were supposed to get everything out of the house. It's all still there. And they got it all done over the weekend. Well, then we opened the doors to one of the barns, and there were all the black plastic contractor bags of crap that they pulled out of the house.
God,
Was
yeah.
just still on the property, but at least it was out of the house. So, there might have been some treasures in there, but it wasn't worth opening them to find out.
Well, thank you guys for the information. I really appreciate the input.
No problem. I do see a couple more people jumped on here. Did we have any other buyer needs or listings coming up that anybody wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so I do have a coming soon, posted the address, price, MLS number. It's 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, finished square feet, 1,643. Does have a nice sized basement that's unfinished as well.
Where is it?
And the total square feet is 2,249. It's North Minneapolis, 4042 Girard Avenue North.
I have somebody looking in Woodbury and Lakeland, but I feel like most of our people are on the other side of town. Not so many.
Yeah, I didn't know if anybody'd have anything for the north side.
Nope, I just sold over there, but I did see, I've seen certainly seen a lot of price drops in my area that we did take an offer for less than what listed. And it was only on, second time on, it was only on a week and a half, but my seller was happy to take that because of this market being so difficult.
I have a listing that just went coming soon yesterday, live Thursday. Coon Rapids, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, split level, really clean, nice neighborhood. And it's going well. I've got 5 showings already set up. So I hope that one goes fast.
Yeah, I would take that to heart when I listed this new whole place. I knew there was some things that were different about it, but I did coming soon, and I only had one appointment set, in the 3 days of coming soon. And I feel like that should have been should have made me really go to them and say, we probably should drop the price when we go active because there's only one. I feel like in this market, if there's a lack of interest in coming soon.
Yeah, did you sell that one then? Did it sell?
It's closing this month.
Good.
This month. So
yeah.
I don't want to give too many details, but yeah, I said we took an offer for less than the list price.
It's in a good price spot too, I think, for a starter home. But we'll see. I know the interest rates are still high,
yeah,
which is gonna hurt everybody. So
yeah, we had a cash offer. So
nice.
Of course. And it isn't all that. We made a cash offer too, and I did not feel like cash is king. I kind of felt like Michael said, like, if you don't have cash, good luck. So I didn't know if we were up against other cash offers on our buy. You have no idea really. So
Yeah, you really don't. There was one that we didn't have any cash offers we were up against, but people just beat us with net. So that was that cash over. And then once we finally did win, we were outbeat by so many other cash offers that it's definitely a roller coaster of a market out there.
Do you guys look at Zillow ever and look at how many times a house is looked at and saved?
My seller did, and
Yep.
it was hundreds of times, but
Yes.
it's kind of meaningless because I mean, like I said, we did not have a lot of showings. We didn't have
Yeah.
a lot of activity, but he had a ton of activity on views. And I think part of it because the decor was interesting, the house was interesting, more interesting than most. You know, that's kind of like those things that end up on Zillow. Do you watch Zillow Gone Wild? Do you ever follow that on
No.
Instagram? Or, oh, you got to look that
Is
up.
that the pictures?
Yeah, they're just
Yep.
the crazy houses, you know, like the most interesting homes. And it's Zillow Gone Wild, and there's another one too, but boy, it's across, you know, the US or the world, but
Yep.
it is really fun to see some of the houses because it's you see so many boring, everything looks the same. It's fun when something's different.
Well, what just irritates me about Zillow is you can look at it before you list a house, and then you put your listing goes up, and all of a sudden its estimate is the same thing you're selling it for.
Right,
Higher
right.
low.
It changes. Yep.
Yep.
And then your seller thinks,
Yep.
well, my
Well, my
estimate
Zillow's
is
estimate
good.
is yeah.
And I always answer it and I say, well, Zillow's never been in your house,
Right.
you know, but it's just irritating because as an agent, I don't care for Zillow, but I know a lot of people really, really put a lot of faith in it.
Hard to
Well, and
beat.
it's a lot of the
Hard to beat.
sellers. There's a lot of the clients that do it is,
Yeah.
oh, this one has so many views. Cause I had a similar one like that last year where my seller was getting so mad. Why don't we have more showings? There's over 1,000 views on Zillow. Like, yeah, but that's, you got to think that's every time anybody clicks into that. So if
Yeah.
one person looks at it 18 times, you're getting 18 clicks for that one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
were they
had-
in Ottawa?
Yeah.
I
Well,
had
I think
St.
it
Croix
shows.
Trail and St. Croix Island was one of St. Croix, US St. Croix Virgin Islands, whatever was one of our comps. It was like, that was quite a while ago, but it was like, something's wrong here. I think the mapping wasn't as good back then, but Zillow, you know what I like about it is the photos show up. I absolutely hate one home that we use. And maybe there's training that I've missed that would help, but I do not like the tiny photos. I don't like having my face show up and them having to click through that garbage first. There's so many things about one home that it's not at all as easy to go through as something like Zillow.
Do you have a different
Yeah.
CRM that you use then?
No, I'm not doing a different CRM. I mean, there isn't one that I'm paying for. If you go on National Realty Guild, you have to log in.
You know, you
Just
can go to
like-
RPR, you know, right on the MLS site.
Can you
So do you
Send
send
from
listings
RPR?
on, you mean you send listings out from RPR?
No, but I use
Oh.
it to do a like a comparable.
Yep.
No,
I'll-
I'm talking about
I want to send.
people
Auto search.
sending me stuff or you sending them.
Yeah.
One home is not good and Zillow is great. And I get a lot of listings from a friend that's MLS online, which I did years ago. I used to pay for that. But they, you know, they look at things and they don't look at what I send them, but we end up with the same ones. You know, so.
And are they logging into one home? Because I've had 2 clients that
No.
specifically have been like straight, like I love my one home, but they also set up their
Yeah.
account, logged in, and then they don't have to click through that anymore. But yeah, it's annoying having to click through it as
It's
yourself.
annoying, yeah.
I've
Anything
got
that you-
I've got about 14 people on one home right now. I don't think it's the greatest, but if I can get them to log in the first time and then send them auto emails, it
Yep.
seems to work okay. Much better than the mobile app, the One Touch, which is horrendous. I think I sat down with my wife trying to figure it out the other day. at dinner, and it was like after 30 minutes, we both just threw up our hands and said, this is horrible. I mean, it's supposed to be better, but if that's better, I don't know.
Right. Everybody looks on their phone, so it has to be whatever wins on a phone. And I think like Edina Realty has a great site, but you don't want to send money down the site.
Does
But I
Chime
also
work?
think,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
was just about to
those-
mention that.
the what?
Chime, the platform that we offer, it's I think like 35 or 40 a month. But it's a CRM and you can send market updates. So it'll automatically send market updates, and you can also view what, like, it'll let you know when your client has opened it. So it's similar to One Home, but it's basically your website. So, but then again, once again, they need to sign in. It's that same
Yeah,
thing.
and that's like 480 whatever. I mean, it's not cheap, and there's other ones out there if I want to pay for it, which I should, but
Well, it's normally 200 a month if you were to like, but Randy got an enterprise, so it's knocked down to the 30, 35 or 40 a month.
Mhm.
But the CRM, I've been trying to use the Chime as a CRM, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, maybe it's just I'm just too old to deal with this one, but I mean, I've used databases all my life in different. I mean, when I was a loan officer, my God, you had to do that.
Yeah.
But I just can't get Chime to click for me. I don't know what it is.
It's a lot of initial setup
Yeah.
for like smart plans and stuff like that. So I'm thinking we just had a bunch of people sign up for Chime, so I'm thinking that I'll be doing an in-person like lunch and learn, just to go over setting up a smart plan and making sure all of your contacts are correctly organized and everything else, and getting all that set up.
Well, let me know when you do it.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll touch
I'm
base.
willing to give it another try.
When you do the Chime thing, do they come through better than One Home? I mean, you're saying when you send from Chime, the photos are bigger, the information is better laid out.
Yep, exactly.
Maybe I'd have you send me,
Yeah.
listing from Chime so I
You
see
actually
what
came through on Chime, and I recognized you. So I'll reopen you and I'll send you some market updates so you can kind of see it as a
see how
client
yeah.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, how come you have Amy Homer? What's with that?
I got married July 7th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a process and everything else, but yeah. Now I'm Helmer. Everything's switched over, and we're doing it new. But yeah, I'll send that over to you, Marge, and then that way you
Okay.
can see it.
Quick question about Chime.
Yeah.
The client can do their own search, can they not? They can set up their own parameters, which on One Home is just they can't do it, which is
It's a
bad.
rigmarole. They can do it, but it's a lot of
Yeah.
this, that, and everything else. But yeah, on the market updates, they can adjust that as well.
Yeah.
So on
and
One
that's a
Home, I
positive.
had a buyer do that, but they said that my search that I set up would automatically come to them, where they had to individually go under each search because they set up different ones, because it says, oh, you can set up different ones. So they did a lot of work. I was like, wow, I wish, it worked better, but they'd be able to set up a search, but they would have to manually go into that search to see what the new things are instead of getting the email like they do from us.
I feel like the board members are all Coldwell Banker, Edina, set ones that have their own site, and it's like, screw all of you. Here's the shittiest site you can have, and you won't win being independent. So I'm saying that One Home is terrible, and what we had before wasn't good either. Like, it wasn't great either, but considering how many things that they keep buying, that's this service and that service, why they can't just have a good basic shareable site that you can also share. Like, if you go and put a link on Facebook, there's no photo, stuff like that. It's just, or it's a photo of that tree. It's just, everything about it is difficult, and it shouldn't be. So I'll look into, have you shared, Amy, on like Facebook? Can you share in our group posts directly from Chime today so we can see how that shows up? Cause I don't want
Yeah,
to
I
pay for
can. I
something if
had
it
one
doesn't
for
do
my
that
previous
well either.
listing. Yeah,
Okay.
because I'll set up landing pages in my Chime for my listings, and then I blast that all over social media.
Okay.
And then it's similar to like what Francis posts on our normal website. It's similar to that post.
But what Francis posts, you have to go log in to see it.
Yep. So you will pretty
On
much
Chime, do you?
yeah. So it's similar because you're gonna have
Yeah.
to your client's gonna have to log in because that's what's saving their search.
Yeah, but once they've got those cookies in your system, it should be able to not have to be logged in. Like it should be an automatic thing.
Yeah, but initially they'll probably have to log in.
Okay. Well, I've initially logged into NRG, and yet
NRG.
every time I want to
It's
go look
still
at somebody's listing in Facebook, you got to go log in.
log in.
So
Interesting. I will
anybody else?
see.
Has anybody used Top Producer?
I've heard of it. I haven't used it.
Years ago.
Years ago. Oh,
Isn't
that just
that?
tells me that you weren't really satisfied with it, or was it too expensive?
I think it's because I changed. Was that Keller Williams, or I changed brokers,
Yeah.
several times. So I'm trying to think what company I had a good site through. And I want to say that was 200 a year. And I just, over time dropped it because I wasn't maintaining it. But
Didn't HomeSnap have something?
HomeSnap I use, but it certainly is lacking in search functions
Okay.
or narrowing anything down. I would never pay. That wouldn't be my choice to be paid for, because there's just certain things you can't search by that make a difference. But I do use it when I'm out in a neighborhood and looking, and going, okay, I wonder what this house is.
Yep.
And it's handy.
Yeah, I think that's more of a realtor's resource.
Yeah.
They have all the likely to list. Like that's what I'll do is I'll look on there, likely to list, unlikely to list. I kind of go off of that. I'll still ask, but at least I know what I'm up against basically. And then that way I can see if they're, because sometimes they even put whether they're like living in the home or whether they're like an investor. So I do find a lot of information on there helpful. It's just I didn't think there was a search option on there, but I do like that website. So it'd be beneficial for them to get a search option and offer that, but I don't think they're there quite yet.
Amy, I used Top Producer many years ago, and it was excellent at the time. And it was a membership type deal. You had to pay for it. It wasn't that expensive, and it was very, very comprehensive. And so in recent times, I've got like 2,200 CRM entries in Chime, and they did a lot of customization for me, but it is not user friendly. I need more training in it, and I'll be looking forward to your lunch and learn. I think it's an excellent idea, and I think it's a good product, but they keep evolving and changing it. Just when you think you might know what you're doing, then they got to change something, and they've been doing that quite a bit lately, which I think is not good. But that's
Are you
because
are you using your phone or are you using a computer?
I'm using the computer when I.
Computer. Okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I know I get frustrated with the phone sometimes because it doesn't have all my features that I have on the computer. So, yeah, just kind of going through that on the computer will probably be beneficial. And it'd be better to have it in person than online because online everybody's going to have these questions and I can't really go to help them in the breakout room. So I think an in person for that will be a lot more beneficial.
I think we're at the point where trying to get out of our caves and call each other once in a while might not be a bad idea.
Exactly.
I had to comment on Michael's comment about Top Producer. Michael, did you use Top Producer in the day?
No, I had a broker who wanted me to use Top Producer, but it was like, to get everything you needed on it was about $232 a month. And I was just starting out, so there's no way I was going to do that too. So I went with a program called Realty Juggler, which is very, very basic, but it's $100 a year. But it is a database. You know what I mean? It does a lot of things, but it keeps all of your data. I mean, I use it religiously and it's easy to use. So I'm a bit reticent to go to something that's a bit more complex, only because I know how to use this, and the database that you use is the best one, because if you don't use it, it makes no sense to have it.
Right.
Exactly. There's a lot of them out there, and I agree with that. What I'd like to know is, what is Bird's Eye? Are we all of a sudden now they want to charge $20 for a mobile app for it? And that's supposed to be, is that our new communique? I don't understand why we are almost being forced to use it. And then all of a sudden now they want $20 and then a monthly small
I've
stipend.
never heard of it. Bird's Eye?
Yeah, what's Bird's Eye? I don't know what
Never
that is
heard
either.
of it. It's nothing to do with National Realty Guild, is it, Amy?
It is a platform that we had been using. Jeremy, are you still having issues with your audio, or do you know more about this Bird Eye?
Yeah, you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, Bird Eye, it's for leaving reviews for your clients, or clients can leave reviews for you for your services and whatnot. This is to strengthen your marketing all throughout. All you guys have access to it. If this is the first time you ever heard of it, let me know. I could just reset and the password and send you over the link on how to do and how to go about doing such. So yeah, the highlight of it is just for having your clients leave reviews for you guys, or rate you, like having like a 5-star or something for your service.
So question, so does that go to multiple platforms? So if somebody left a review on Bird's Eye, would it
Yep.
go to my Google platform, my Zillow, my
That's exactly what it
Facebook?
is. Yep, you can sync all your social media platforms to strengthen your
So then does it have to be just future ones, or will it put all of them together on
all of
all
them together.
platforms
All of them
after I
together.
register?
After
What's
you
that?
register, all of them together.
All
From the
my
day-
old ones
yeah,
and
from
everything?
yeah,
will
from the
all-
day you set it up, it will be from there on after.
So
so
it
they're
won't,
forward, not the old ones.
Old ones as well. Old ones as well.
So the old ones will, so if I had a Zillow review from 5 years ago, it'll link in
Oh.
and go to my Google?
Going back or further back, to that here. I'm not sure. Let me check with their manager and see, how long we could go further back, further reviews. So I'll get back to you on that, Dennis.
does it go back 6 months?
Yeah, of course. Yep. But
Yeah, it must,
as far as
yeah,
yours is
must.
concerned, yep, I need to clarify that with Bird Eye.
And is
But
that paid for, or did we get like
For free.
a trial period?
It's for free.
Okay.
Jeremy, it's not free anymore. If you're going to
Well,
be using, everybody uses.
Randy pays for it for the membership, so I set NRG agents up, all of them without paying anything. So I assume it's for free because Randy's paying for it, everything.
That's what I thought too.
This was recent. They emailed me and said that,
Just recently.
yeah, they wanted $20
Oh,
right
is that
now.
so?
So I got out of it and I blocked them. So I need to know, I'm not gonna pay for it. I think that's ridiculous, and I don't even understand why we're using that. To me, it doesn't make any sense at all. But if that's the way we're gonna communicate and we're being forced to pay that $20 plus a stipend every month, like
It's
$1.
not a communication key. It's for reviews for your clients. So
Marketing.
it might be something else you may have signed up for on accident. I would just kind of look into it. We can maybe go offline and look further into that for you.
I can check for you. Because as far as I know, there wouldn't be any extra charges, or maybe there is, but you took extra, maybe extra services or something like that. So I'm not really sure. As far as I know, again, you shouldn't be charged extra. But then again,
Jeremy,
maybe
I just,
you have clicked on something to may have gotten extra service. So yeah.
I didn't ask for anything extra. It said that I had one notification. I tried to go in to get that notification and it said, you can't get in here until you pay the $20 using mobile. It's a charge that they're implementing to pay for people to use their mobile services.
Got it. You might want to, give me a screenshot, forward me a screenshot of what happened there. I might want to share that with the management team of Bird Eye, so if we could, we could know where it's coming from.
I just told you.
I need a
Yeah,
screen.
but we would need stuff to send off to them in
Mhm.
order to fix the problem. Like I said, this would probably be a better thing to go offline because I haven't heard of any other issues with that. I know I've gotten messages. I haven't gotten any notifications, so it may be something that we need to look further into, specifically your account.
Let me reach
Okay.
out to you, Lynn, regarding this, so we could, start.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
I think that was it on the bird's eye there. I was just going to ask if anybody had any other listings or buyer needs to go over. Otherwise, I was going to jump into the forms here, just kind of go over those quick. That way we can see if we have any questions on them. And then I can forward those on to Randy and we can come back and answer them next week.
I watched that little video from MLS or whatever on the forums, and it's pretty self-explanatory from what I watched. So
Yeah, I was gonna throw that video on here actually.
oh, okay.
So I will start sharing here. So all of the information is available on minnesotarealtors.com, and you can easily find it under the member services, legal affairs, and then under the forms. And then this also has the video, the summary, the residential forms changes, and the commercial forms changes. So first of all, we'll go over kind of the summary here. So as of August 1st today, they are making the changes that we need to use these new forms. And so there is changes to the addendum or amendment to purchase agreement, buyer's movement agreement, addendum or amendment to purchase agreement, seller's rent back agreement, and residential lease agreement. There are some new purchase agreements on the new construction, vacant land, and they did make some changes to the purchase agreement. They did make some changes to the disclosure statements as well, adding a couple things. And then they also did some changes on this residential lease agreement.
Amy, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I have this listing, it's going live on Thursday. My seller filled out the previous disclosure statement. Do I have to have her do an updated one?
What's the date on it? What date did she sign it?
July 20th, I think.
Okay, I will ask Randy just to double check, but I would think just because today is the day that you would be signing anything, that you would be getting any of them, that you would use that other one. But that I will write in the notes here.
So that I'd be okay using the old one, or you think you're asking if I need to use the new one?
I would think you wouldn't be able to use the old one because it was signed before August 1st. Okay. But I'll double check with Randy here. And we'll for sure say that next week.
It's so fun for them to fill out.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering, well, let's go over the video and then that way we can, oops, there it is.
Hello, Minnesota Realtors. Welcome to the 2023 Forms Changes Overview. Here, I'll provide an update to the forms changes made by the Minnesota Realtors Forms Committee. These changes go into effect on August 1st, 2023. To begin, I'll explain changes made to our residential forms, then I'll discuss changes made to our commercial forms, and I'll conclude with an explanation of new forms for 2023. Purchase agreements. This will be our residential purchase agreement, the vacant land purchase agreement, and our new construction purchase agreement. So first, the word "or" was added in between the two checkbox options in the mortgage financing contingency to clarify that buyers should be selecting one checkbox or the other, but not both. Second, the written statement section of the mortgage financing contingency was also changed. We found that the written statement provision of our purchase agreements did not address transactions where the lender waived the appraisal. So the Forms Committee included language permitting the buyer to indicate that an appraisal satisfactory to the lender has been completed or the lender has waived the appraisal. Finally, the inspection contingency was also revised. It now provides if buyer cancels this purchase agreement, then this purchase agreement is canceled. This change was made for consistency with other sections of the purchase agreement and to permit the purchase agreement to cancel by its own terms for statutory cancellation purposes. And second, in the inspection contingency section, the word "intent" was replaced with "election" for additional clarity. Addendum or amendment to purchase agreement, buyer's move-in agreement, seller's rent-back agreement, and the residential lease agreement. So in June of 2021, Chapter 193 of the St. Paul Legislative Code, commonly referred to as the Stable, Accessible, Fair, and Equitable Housing Tenant Protection Ordinance, was repealed. Under the ordinance, residential leases for property in the city of St. Paul were required to include a just cause notice. So we included that notice in our buyer's move-in and seller's rent-back addendum or amendment to our purchase agreement, as well as our residential lease agreement. Since the ordinance was repealed, the just cause notice has been removed from our forms. Disclosure statements. Now, this will be seller's property disclosure statement, the vacant land disclosure statement, and the seller's property disclosure. So this year, Minnesota statute section 355.155 was amended to introduce new disclosure obligations for owners of property where chronic wasting disease is detected. Accordingly, we have updated our disclosure statements to ask whether chronic wasting disease has been detected on the property. Now for our residential lease agreement, there were several amendments were made to Chapter 504B of the Minnesota statutes, which pertains to landlords and tenants. These amendments required 5 substantive changes to Minnesota Realtors residential lease. First, lines were added for one-time non-optional fees disclosures and recurring non-optional fee disclosures. Second, another line was added to disclose the total monthly payment, which specifies that the total monthly payment is the sum total of rent plus reoccurring non-optional fees. Third, in the utilities section on the first page, the word "or" was included to make it clear that utilities can be paid by the owner or the tenant, or the utilities can be paid in part by the landlord or the tenant. Fourth, new initial and move-out inspection sections were added to conform with Chapter 504B as amended. That requires that a landlord notify a tenant of their option to request an initial and final inspection. And fifth, the inspection of the premises and right of entry section was modified to state that a landlord must provide at least 24-hour notice to the tenant prior to entry. But the tenant may permit earlier entry, and the landlord can only enter between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. unless the landlord and tenant agree to an earlier or later time. We'll move now to commercial forms. So in the addendum to commercial purchase agreement, conventional SBA, other mortgage financing form, we made the following change for consistency with our residential forms. So 2 changes were made. First, the word "or" was added in between the 2 checkbox options in the mortgage financing contingency, again to clarify that buyers should be selecting one checkbox or the other, but not both. And second, the phrase "or the lenders have waived the appraisal" was added to address transactions where the lender has waived the appraisal. Now we'll discuss new forms. On the residential side, We created an addendum or amendment to listing contract, buyer representation contract, or facilitator services agreement. So the Forms Committee approved adoption of this new form, which can serve as either an addendum or an amendment to listing contracts, buyer representation contracts, or facilitator services agreements. Next, we created a disclosure statement, chronic wasting disease form. So as mentioned earlier, under Minnesota statute section 355.155, as amended, owners of property where chronic wasting disease is detected must comply with new statutory disclosure and other requirements. We developed this new disclosure statement to ensure that sellers satisfy the requirements of the statute. What are those requirements? Well, generally speaking, there are 8 requirements that apply to owners of property where chronic wasting disease is detected. First, owners must cooperate with the inspection of the property by the Board of Animal Health and Department of Natural Resources, conservation officers, and wildlife managers. Second, depopulate the property of cervidae. Cervidae includes white-tailed deer, mule deer, red deer, elk, moose, caribou, reindeer, and muntjac. Third, verify any herd of farm cervidae by an accredited veterinarian every 12 months. Fourth, maintain fencing. 5, refrain from raising cervidae for at least 10 years. 6, properly dispose of the animals. 7th, prior to selling or transferring the property, disclose in writing the date of depopulation and the other statutory requirements specified above. And 8th, record with the county recorder or registrar of titles a notice containing the date of detection and depopulation and any other information required by the Board of Animal Health. The new disclosure statement, chronic wasting disease, is designed to ensure that all these various requirements are met. Now on the commercial side, the Forms Committee approved adoption of a new form that can serve as either an addendum or an amendment to the listing contract or buyer representation contracts. Finally, all Minnesota Realtor forms will be modified to update the copyright information on the upper right corner of the forms, removing the city from the copyright. And those are the changes for 2023. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I wanted to play that because that was way more easier than going through. I think there's about 78 pages to go through. So they do a really good job explaining everything. Did anybody have any other extra questions?
Yeah, not on that, but for Sweet Assist. So if you have the same title company, you're using it for 3 different transactions, do you have to enter that into each individual thing, or is there a way to set up, you know, for instance, title company X, and then just push it in there and it just generates into those people automatically?
Don't know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like a way that you could just
Instead of having to put each all the contact information under each one individually every single time, when you might use it 100 times sometime, you know. Same with like a lender.
Yeah, I don't see anything off the top. I can definitely look on that as well. Because yeah, that would be a great feature, especially for lender and title company. And if it's not in there already, I'll reach out to Clark and see if there's not in there already. Otherwise, I'm sure they love expanding all the time. So
Thanks.
Are we supposed to be putting that information into Sweet Assist?
I mean, it's not required. It's just nice to have all your information in one spot. But if there is a different like transaction
So you
software,
don't have to fill that stuff out all the time?
it's preferred. It's just if you can't get it in there, then
So all I need to do is put in my documents? And the
yeah,
buyer
it's more
thing?
of the documents and getting them over and having them on file.
All right.
But it would be good because then that way you can put them in there. Or I usually just put like who their lender was. I don't put like all of the information because I have it in my phone and it'll just be Bob from 123 Mortgage.
Yeah, I just thought it was required. I have my own spot that I track it and can pull it up really easy and everything else.
I have
Yep,
to say,
the main. Oh,
I have to
sorry.
say, I never put any information into Sweet Assist.
Yeah, the main concern is the forms that's getting in there and just kind of keeping your transactions as one.
Amy, I think it's confusing. Different people have different perspectives on Sweet Assist, and I've been told by a couple of people that it's mandatory that we load everything in there now. And now I'm hearing from you today that it's not mandatory.
The
No,
forms. Because sometimes you're not going to have information because if they're a cash buyer, you're not going to have a lender. So how are we going to require something that may not be applicable to that transaction?
I think what she's really asking is, are we supposed to be loading this stuff in there? Because, I tried once and it just didn't accept anything. So I went, oh, okay. I've never loaded anything. Maybe I'm just cutting off my own leg here, but I've never loaded anything into Sweet Assist.
Yep, so it is a new platform that we are switching over to. We're trying to get everybody just loads their stuff into there so that way you have copies, we have copies. And then if you are having problems like that, then there is always the option that you can email it to Anne, but then Anne goes in there and loads it into your profile as well. But she loads it into a master profile and it may not come over to your system. So just having it in your system and forwarding it on to her is just kind of a better system of not having to make sure, okay, did I email that? Did I have that form? It's all in one.
but I don't think it's been made clear that that is our new, like an AI admin function, that if you get a new listing, you need to load it into Sweet Assist. If you get a sale, you load it into Sweet Assist.
I
That's
don't think you have to load it in the moment and stuff like that. I'm just loading it in when it's closing time.
Yep. And then you're submitting your documents for closing and that's how you get paid. It's the major point of getting your documents submitted so that we have everything, so that way we can pay you out after closing.
So my understanding is it's like we're round robining here. I need a clear understanding that you have to load it into Sweet Assist, period. That's
Yes.
I don't think that's been made perfectly clear, because I've had a lot of people ask me and I said, sorry, I don't really know. I said, it seems to me Sweet Assist is an assisting source, but I'm not sure if that is mandatory in the company now for any listing or any sale. And what you're saying is, yes, it is. If you want to get paid bottom line, it's got to be in Sweet Assist, and every document has to be in there, and all the I's have to be dotted, the T's crossed, and that's the source.
So
And
Lynn, when I
Yes.
started with NRG, Jeremy emailed me, it might have been Francis, all of the required forms that need to be put into Sweet Assist. So there's a list showing what is required. And then there's also a list in Sweet Assist that has the places where you put your documentation. So say it's a seller's disclosure, then you upload that. But for my previous broker, we had more required forms, but if you get that, when you started on, you should have got a page that says all of the required forms. It's really easy. It's very self-explanatory. Maybe
So-
we
Yeah.
need to reference
And this
that.
whole, you're putting a fine definite line on mandatory. It's preferred. It's preferred that we have agents load their paperwork in. But as I said, also, Anne is there to help, but it is preferred because otherwise, I mean, we have 300 agents. If everyone's sending her their stuff, she's going to be 24/7 all the time. So it is preferred that agents are loading their stuff into Suite Assist. If they're having issues, then they can always reach out to Anne. But yes, it is preferred. I wouldn't use the hard line mandatory, but it is mandatory that you have all of your paperwork in order to get paid.
Yeah, if you don't load them,
So
somebody's gonna have
realistically-
to load them in there, so.
So
they-
realistically, what you're saying is if everybody bombarded the system with it, it'd become mandatory very fast because otherwise nobody get paid because she's not able to do it all on time.
Basically, yep. And then your checks are going to be running behind, and she's got her list of things to do as well. So if it, I mean, we set up this system so it's easier, and like Vicky pointed out, there is that list of, okay, I can put the seller's disclosure right here, I can put the purchase agreement right here. I know emails get long and files get huge when I have my buyer's agency agreement, my purchase agreement, my 6 offers that I had written previously, because we do have to keep those. So if I'm able to at least put them in there, they're all in one spot. It's just more of a beneficial thing, I would think, personally for me. But it's mandatory that you have to have your paperwork in. It's not mandatory, it's preferred that you use Suite Assist. But again, if you're having issues, then you can always reach out to Anne or Francis and they'll get in the system, so you would be able to get paid.
Doesn't Anne have a charge for doing that for you now?
No, we have Jen, who is a transaction coordinator, and she does all of your paperwork for you.
And Anne has been really, really helpful. If you have any questions, she will email you. I sent her my last listing. She uploaded it, and then she did some of my forms too, which I was really grateful for. So I don't know. She goes above and beyond. She's great.
She is excellent.
Can I just make a plug for, you had mentioned Jen as a transition coordinator. I actually have used her, and for a small fee, she does a fantastic job of keeping me in line. I mean, I'm horrible with paperwork, and just for my own personal use, just to have her there is money well spent. So if you don't like paperwork and all of that, you need somebody to help you out. I'll just put in a plug for Jen because she did a fantastic job. So.
That's who I used to, and she does great, and it's well worth it, and it's way less than most companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't have to worry about, well, did I put this form in this place? Did I put that form in? Did I do this? I have my hands on too many other things to worry about that. So I just have her take care of it, and it works out fantastic. So that's a plug.
And then
out
she
for
sends
Jen.
you the email, you sign where you need to sign, she sends it off, she does everything. She's really on top of it.
And on the weekends and at night and in the morning. I mean, really, I've done my own signings, only a couple times ever that I've had to, that I didn't reach her. Well, because they had a typhoon last week, and she still was responsive, and I'm like, I'm seeing weather, it looks terrible there, and she's like, yes, it's passing. But anyway, she wasn't freaking out about, I can't do this, because I'm, it was,
no, she's fantastic. I mean, I've had nothing but good things to say about her. So I mean, she's my go-to person for all of that. It's well worth it for me.
yeah, if you spend 4 to 6 hours at the end going, oh my God, I got to pull this together or I'm not going to get paid, then just have Jen do it from the start.
Yeah,
And
it's well worth it.
it's your money well spent, because you're not going to be just trying to, I mean, I would just spend forever agonizing going, did I miss this form? Do I have all these forms in? Oh, they're asking for one more thing, you know?
The only
And
thing that I asked, I mean, maybe Jeremy knows this one, but she's got 2 emails. Which one do I go to again? I forget.
It's Jen at NR. Oh, that's TC. It's TC at NRGRealtor.com. We got a lot of
Got
emails.
it, got it.
Would
Yeah,
you
no,
spell
I mean,
that, please?
No, I'll just put it in the chat
Well,
box.
Yep, we'll put it in the chat.
now,
yeah,
does,
you can thank you, Jeremy, because like I said,
I read
she's
it.
underused, she's
I read it.
undervalued. Yeah, undervalued.
does she charge a flat rate or does she have an a la carte schedule? And does she load everything into Suite Assist then?
But she wouldn't have your login. So she's loading it in a different way. So that's why I said you wanting to load it. If you want it in your Suite Assist, you need to load it in your Suite Assist.
Yeah, Lynn, I'm not in Suite Assist. I use her for every transaction and I don't do anything in Suite Assist. Only
And
thing
what-
I really am responsible for is the trust funds to get done.
Yeah, I mean, however you want to do it with your filing system, I might put it in Suite Assist as well, because I just like to know,
Yep.
what I have in there. I mean, I'm somewhat of a control freak on that side of things, where I want to know what's going on. But I mean, as for her, I just give it to her. Just send an email to her, and she'll take care of it.
And what, does she charge a flat rate or an a la carte schedule?
I'm
She
pretty sure it's
charges.
flat.
I can't remember what she charges again. I want to say 200, 225 or something like that. Jeremy, am I on track with that?
Yeah, it's 225 exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we are just over 10
Wonderful.
o'clock here. Did we have any other last minute questions or anything else before we wrap up here?
Lynn, was it you that had were you the one who did or didn't have a, what do you call it when you have a house, a warranty company that was just mechanicals? Months
No,
ago, somebody on here had some company that wasn't just your typical $500 covering everything. It was more like mechanicals. It wasn't bond fee. It's another one.
No,
Have
that
you
was,
maybe reached out? Because this is for that condo that you're getting, right?
Well, that I
Uh,
sold, but they never did. And I looked up, so the one with Centerpoint or with Excel
mhm.
is like 30 or 40 a month, but then you have to pay an additional and it only covers $1,000 on a new unit. So that's basically worthless if we're buying for 2 years.
Do they have like an association, like a board or anything that like maybe you could ask if others have gotten?
No, so the
Okay.
thing is everybody could get a new AC for 12,000, between 10 and $12,000 for a condo.
Yeah.
And that one company has the rights for 2 years because they redid the roof for a couple million. Took
Mhm.
all it's like 100 separate AC units, and then they have to put them all back again. It's really stupid. So anyway, so yeah, I can't go to it. Wouldn't be something the board, they would just say, well, you should have bought a new one, which
Yeah.
we haven't needed yet, but
Yeah.
thanks.
Does
Maria.
anybody know of a warranty company that specifically covers any plumbing, or, if the plumbing leaving the house under the road type stuff is really bad?
Basically, once you leave that house, I know even with sewage lines, once you leave that house threshold out there, it kind of gets a little dicey. I have not heard of any that cover past the house.
I do have a good company for getting, because he just had to have the drain cleaned. I have a good company. I don't know if they offer any kind of warranty, but it was
It's in St. Cloud.
oh, okay. This one's in the cities.
I kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
thanks though.
yep, was very good, very happy with them. I've used them a couple times.
Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Bye, guys.
there's there's nothing
Right.
else, I hope everyone has a wonderful day and we will see you next week.
Thanks, Amy.
Congrats,
Thanks,
Amy.
everybody.
Elmer.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Take care.